Defiance in children can be very frustrating for parents, but there are some responses that your child may give to your instructions that on the surface might seem like defiance, but are not really defiance at all. And what do the different responses your child gives to your instructions tell you about your parent-child relationship? There are parents who believe that as soon as a child disobeys, the first thing to do is set a consequence like timeout or spanking or taking away a privilege. The idea that you have to make sure they obey the first time is important, but it also needs to be balanced with the understanding of these 4 categories of responses that your child could be giving. Knowing these 4 categories of communication will help you discern what the right plan of action should be. The 4 categories are innocence, manipulation, disrespect, and willful defiance. So let's quickly look at each category and talk about what the right response would be to each one. Let's say you and your child are at the park and you give your child a 5-minute warning that it will soon be time to go. Then 5 minutes later, you call them to let them know it's time to go. Your child comes quickly and walks along with you and may innocently ask, "Why are we leaving the park so soon?" Their tone and demeanor tell you they are just asking for general information, because you can see they aren't resisting your instructions at all. They're just asking because they want to know. In that case, your child is not defying you by asking the question. They are displaying innocence. No action is needed. Just answer their question and move on. This kind of response tells you that you have probably been building that relationship of trust I often talk about, and it is working. The next 3 categories are sometimes displayed individually, and other times they go through all of them one by one. We'll start with manipulation. If you call your child to come and they instead say, "But I don't want to leave yet. You always make us leave when I'm having fun. Can't I go down the slide a few more times first?" In this case, they're trying to manipulate you. They're attempting to make you feel guilty by saying you're taking away their fun, and then suggesting you remedy this horrendous treatment by giving them what they want. This is manipulative. In this case, you simply say, "Come now, we're leaving." You don't need to go into all the reasons you provide them with lots of fun, why it's important that you get to your next activity on time, and etc. Manipulative behavior should be disregarded immediately. By you disregarding that kind of answer, they will learn that manipulating you is not going to work. This kind of manipulative response means that your child probably has experienced you giving in to their manipulation in the past. Don't let it happen again, and this kind of behavior will stop. The next category is disrespect. Disrespect would be when you call your child and they say something hateful or demeaning to you in response. For example, you call them to come and they say, "You're always in such a hurry for no reason," or "I'm sick of you stopping me when I'm having fun," or any number of responses that communicate a disrespect for your parental authority. They will likely be huffing or stomping their foot, but they could also say this in a very calm and passive type way. No matter how they say it, it is still disrespect. This kind of behavior tells you that you have not followed through at times, and they do not believe it is necessary to show you respect. Change this by not allowing disrespect to go unanswered, and by building up your relationship of trust. In this case, bring the child to you and look them right in the eye. Then tell them very firmly, but without anger, that this was disrespectful, not acceptable, and will not be tolerated. Say, "We are going to do this again," and this time you will answer respectfully. Tell them that when you call, they are to say, "Yes, ma'am," and come immediately. Then have them return to the place in the park they were and call them again to you. If they comply with your instructions, then let them know you do not expect to hear a disrespectful answer from them ever again. If they don't comply, then we are on to the next stage of these 4 categories. That is the one called willful defiance. This is when you call them and they face you defiantly and say, "No, I'm not leaving right now." This category is the one that is the most egregious and can tell you a few things about what's going on in your parent-child relationship. Before I tell you a good way to handle this situation specifically, I want to explain that this behavior is a wake-up call to you as a parent. It tells you that you need to work on that relationship of trust that I often talk about. They do not believe you mean it when you say something and that you will follow through. They are missing one of the 3 things every child needs to know in their own heart and mind. If you don't know what those 3 things are, I'll put a link in the description below, and if you're on YouTube, I'll put it above or whatever in the links up here. But basically, the 3 things are that you love them, that you know what's best for them, and that you will be sure what's best for them is done. These 3 things will determine how your child responds to your instructions. Something is missing in this area. You need to find out what it is. But for now, willful defiance is happening. What should you do? There are 2 ways you can handle this. But the first thing to do is to have complete control of your own emotions. Do not get angry. Anger will not help, and it can cause your child to believe that you will only take action when you get angry. You don't want that to be the way your child perceives your parenting. Be calm and recognize that you need to work on some things so that this behavior does not repeat itself. And that's okay. You can do this. Next, when you are calm, go over to your child and take them by the arm and bring them over to you. From here, there are 2 things you can do depending on your parental philosophy. One is take them directly to the car and tell them you will have a conversation later about this entire scenario. Then later, go through the 9 steps I have set out to take care of undesirable behavior, which I will link in the description. And if you're watching again, I'll put it above on the screen here. This is a basic plan to work through any kind of behaviors that are of concern like this one. So you should be able to find the link to that video in the description. But there's also another thing you can do. You can do what many loving parents have done for centuries. You can give them a spanking. Now, I know some of you are against spanking for any reason, under any circumstances. Okay, you can hold that view. But in my opinion, and in the opinion of a majority of people around the world, an age-appropriate spanking given to a willfully disobedient child by a calm and loving parent is not abuse. The idea that a spanking within the definition I just gave is abuse is the reason so many out-of-control children are full of anxiety and depression, and loving parents are exhausted and overwhelmed. The modern idea is that it is abuse any time a parent or teacher causes a child to feel uncomfortable in any way about their own bad behavior. But it's not. When an age-appropriate spanking is done, as I just described, it is a help and a blessing to the child. So a swat on the diaper or on the back of the jeans when they are being defiant, when they are being willfully disobedient, is totally acceptable for a young child who is at an age that they are able to walk up to about age 8. But remember, this has to be in the context of a loving relationship of trust. Without that, any form of discipline at all can cause rebellion. Your child must trust you and know those 3 very important things that every child needs to know. So eye-to-eye time at least twice a day is essential. If you've gone through the videos on this channel and read my book and still feel you need a personal consultation, you can schedule one with me on my website at mommyanswerlady.com. Parents, you can do this. Please remember to subscribe and write your questions in the comments or email me at holly@mommyanswerlady.com. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you here next time.